I was trying to vote for Mr. Huff. I thought I did.
No, you did. That was the first round. On the second round, you voted for Mr. Trombino.
Confusion, cross signals, and a deadlock in the search for a new Palm Coast city manager. At yesterday's meeting, the Palm Coast City Council failed to reach a decision after multiple 3-2 votes split between finalist Paul Trombino and Richard Huff. Councilman Dave Sullivan, who participated remotely through a poor Zoom connection, accidentally voted for the wrong candidate at one point. The council has now asked both candidates to submit white papers on budgeting before another vote next week. Whether either candidate agrees to continue is still unknown. In other news, a seaplane that took off from Flagler County Executive Airport crashed into Crescent Lake near Bear Island Tuesday morning. Both the pilot and co-pilot were safely rescued with no injuries. The NTSB is now investigating. Meanwhile, a Maine man has been arrested after threatening to kill a Flagler County teen and their family through Xbox messages. After a 2-year investigation, the 32-year-old suspect was located and now faces extradition to Florida on felony charges. Good morning, Flagler County. I'm Rich Carroll. You're listening to Flagler's Morning News on Wednesday, April 30th.
What we want to do here, we want to just make this a very nice executive airport, and that's what we have here.
Roy Seeger, director of the Flagler Executive Airport, kicking off a very special groundbreaking.
The future 15,000 square foot general aviation building at the Flagler County Executive Airport is finally being constructed 8 years after it was thought about.
By building this new terminal facility here, it will be the icing on the cake. That's why I call it the capstone project, because the whole airport's done. This is going to be a nice, big, beautiful facility for people that are coming to visit our area.
Paul Renner, former Speaker of the Florida House, was in attendance to give his congratulations.
Our airport here in Flagler is critical to our economic development and our future success, and so it was important that we invested in here as we did in other places, like setting aside land and conservation. You know, it's a mix of things, and so it's not just development, it's also preservation, and we did, a record amount in land conservation, not just in our area, but throughout the state to support the Florida Wildlife Corridor, and but we also have to build where people live, and that's things like this airport.
Perhaps the main question, how is the airport expansion being financed? The $11.2 million building is financed by a $5.6 million grant from the State Department of Transportation, a $5 million appropriation from the legislature, and $620,000 in local airport funds, and no taxpayer dollars. Completion is anticipated by the end of next year. For Flagler's Local Morning News, I'm Karen Johnson.
This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota US 1 St. Augustine, here to wow you.
My concern at this point is getting in there and getting the job done.
After last week's action against Mayor Mike Norris, the Palm Coast City Council will hold a special meeting tomorrow to talk about what to do next.
The City Council took action against Mayor Mike Norris last week to censure him, reflecting a no-confidence vote, and to move forward with a complaint to the Florida Ethics Commission based on that investigation. Vice Mayor Teresa Pontieri.
It's more of a public way of saying we don't approve of this type of behavior, and it really needs to be ceased, what's happening as far as treatment of staff. And, from my perspective as an attorney, I don't want us to be on the other side of a lawsuit for many of these actions. And so I always look at things from the perspective of me being a steward of taxpayer dollars. And as a steward of taxpayer dollars, I obviously want to protect the city from anything negative, including legal action. And so it's important that this type of behavior be publicly stated. We are not going to tolerate this.
Mayor Norris was not present for last week's meeting as Vice Mayor. Pontieri served as chair.
I just want us to forward across the finish line good policy and be able to work as a council. So we need to show up. We need to do the job. We need to work together. And that doesn't happen if somebody isn't present and isn't going into City Hall and isn't talking to business leaders and trying to attract business and, making the city of Palm Coast attractive, because we all talk about what we want to do, but what are you doing? What are you actually doing to move that ball forward? And so as we work as a council to do that, I think what our message is, get in here and work with us. Let's get the job done.
The City Council will meet Thursday to further discuss the situation in City Hall. I'm Daryl Moody reporting.
Prepare for Thursday's meeting by reading the results of the investigation into mayoral misconduct. The full report is available on the WNZF Facebook page. And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.